European territorial disputes explained. All right, this one is a little bit old, about 5 years old, coming from the channel General Knowledge. We've checked them out before. They got good stuff, good information. So some of this might be slightly outdated. 5 years, I mean, I would imagine it probably hasn't changed too much on territorial disputes, but nonetheless, we're gonna check it out. This is a little foreign to me because territorial disputes isn't something we really experience too much over here in North America, not at least in my lifetime. Of course, I have to deal with trade wars going on with my country. So much fun. I just love hearing about that stuff. Nonetheless, all right, let's get into this one. European territorial disputes. Go.
Territory. Each country in the world has it. It's how they exist, by having a place to exist. Some are big, some are smaller, and some don't agree on which territory they and their neighbors should have. So we get territorial.
So they go to war.
Territorial disputes. To put it very simply, these are cases where two countries both demand the same portion of land and cannot agree on who should get to keep it. In most cases, one of them has currently gotten their way. In this video, I'm going to go over a few of those territorial disputes in Europe. I will then probably make videos like this for America, Asia, and Africa if there's a good response from you guys and you want me to.
Gosh, what would ours be in America? Is it like islands and shit? Probably.
Starting with Olivenza, claimed by both Portugal and Spain. Olivenza is a town situated on a disputed section of the Portugal-Spain border. Its territory is administered by the Spanish. Portugal does not recognize Spanish sovereignty over the territory, based on its interpretation of the 1815 Congress of Vienna, a treaty which Spain accepted but apparently never followed. This one dates back a while, all the way back to, you guessed it, Napoleon, a man who seems to be at the origin of half of problems in Europe. In 1801, Spain declared war on Portugal in what was called War of the Oranges. The Spanish forces were instigated by the government of France to declare war on the Portuguese because they were the last remaining ally of the British on the European continent. Portugal refused to break their long-lasting alliance with the English, and so French and Spanish troops invaded. Portugal's loyalty was rewarded by the British, who aided them in the war, but not enough for them to win. The Portuguese were able to win the conflict in South America, holding on to their colony of Brazil, but they lost in Europe, and one of these significant losses in Europe was the town of Olivenza. This conflict also set the stage for the Peninsular Wars, in which Napoleon invaded the Iberian Peninsula. Fast forward to that 1815 treaty, which reshaped Europe after the downfall of Napoleon, where it is written in Article 105 that the powers recognizing the justice of the claims of Portugal and the Brazils over the town of Olivenza and the other territories ceded to Spain by the Treaty of Badajoz of 1801. But over 200 years later, the issue remains unsolved. A fun fact is that the municipality flag is stylized with the Portuguese municipal flag template, despite still being under Spanish rule. Spain also has another territorial issue, but this time with the United Kingdom and Gibraltar. This issue isn't over the territory.
I had heard about Gibraltar so much growing up, and I had no idea where it was until probably like 6 or 7 years
as
ago.
a whole. As far as I understand, Spain recognizes British sovereignty over Gibraltar. This is an issue of where the border should be. It dates back to the treaties of Utrecht from 1713, which followed the end of the War of Spanish Succession. There's not much you need to know about the war itself in this context, other than one of the results of it was that Britain was the main beneficiary. Some say these treaties marked the point at which Britain became the primary European commercial power. In Article 10, Spain ceded the strategic ports of Gibraltar and Minorca, giving Britain a dominant position in the Western Mediterranean. The dispute here is apparently over the interpretation of the treaty, which, despite granting the territory to the British in perpetuity, also stated that Gibraltar be yielded to Great Britain without any territorial jurisdiction and without any open communication by land with the country around about. From what I understand, the British interpret this as we own Gibraltar and its ports, but not the territory around it, while the Spanish interpret
so they just like this is so confusing, dude. This is so wild.
As you only own the ports, not the Gibraltar
The
land.
ports, the actual,
around
like,
them.
not
so
the
essentially,
strait,
the
but
dispute is how much of Gibraltar the
ports?
British should own. The UK itself also has a couple territorial disputes, both of which include Ireland. The first is over Rockall Island, which Denmark and Iceland also claim. This place is literally a rock in the middle of the ocean, so I have no idea why they want to claim
is that actually it? It's just this rock. So, I mean, I can understand a country like wanting to have a territory on an island, especially like outside the mainland for military. But like, what are you gonna do on this? Put a tower on it, maybe? I don't. Possibly.
it unless it has something to do with gaining ownership to the territorial waters around it. 4 countries claim it.
waters.
The first is the Faroe Islands, who as an autonomous territory within Denmark are represented by Denmark. The Faroese claim it in order to have continental shelf rights in the Hatton-Rockall area of the sea. Iceland does not claim the rock itself, however they claim an extended continental shelf as well, and so are against other nations owning it, so that they could use it as an excuse to block their sea area expansion. Ireland and the UK used to both claim it for the same reasons. It caused an issue in the delimitation of their economic exclusive zones. The British and the Irish signed an agreement which literally just ignores the existence of the rock and got over the issue like that. But Iceland and Denmark dispute this agreement. But apparently the UN states that rocks which cannot sustain human habitation or economic life of their own shall have no exclusive economic zone or continental shelf.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Convention which the 4 countries signed, but still they're in dispute for whatever reason. The other is Carlingford Lough, a dispute between the UK and the Republic of Ireland. It seems to be a little bit of a remnant of the Northern Ireland territory dispute with the Irish. This place is a glacial fjord or sea inlet that forms part of the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. To put it very simply, it's somewhat of a lake between the 2 towns, and one of the town is Northern Irish and the other belongs to the Republic of Ireland. It seems they've had a hard time dividing the lake, so at some points, either side has claimed it in its entirety. There's a bunch of small points along the border between the 2 islands where issues like this apparently exist. Moving on to a few big ones.
I could see how that would be hard, especially for something like a lake. Like, what do you do? Right in the middle is where we cut the territory. But then, of course, rivers and lakes change constantly over, decades. So you set one line and then it could be completely different like 3 or 4 decades later. I don't know how crazy it is in that area, but like some of the rivers and lakes that we have can be completely wound into a different area, like the Mississippi River.
Dispute between Greece and Turkey. The Aegean dispute is a set of interrelated controversies over sovereignty in the region of the Aegean Sea between Greece and Turkey. It's apparently lasted since the 1970s and the Aegean dispute between Greece and Turkey. The Aegean dispute is a set of interrelated controversies over sovereignty in the region of the Aegean Sea between Greece and Turkey. It's apparently lasted since the 1970s, and 2 times already it has resulted in moments of real crisis, close to the outbreak of military hostilities, specifically in 1987 and 1996. From what I could understand, this isn't about land as much as it is about sea and air. Essentially, they argue over everything here: territorial waters, national airspace, economic zones, but also the issue of the Turks wanting some Greek islands to be demilitarized, which the Greeks don't accept or agree to. Although there are some issues of land claiming as well. It seems that Turkey claims a few gray zones, some islands that are very small. I think the Greek-Turkish Sea has literally thousands of these, and a lot of them.
That is pretty crazy how Greece has control of all these islands, even though they're so close to Turkey.
Of undetermined sovereignty, and both the Turks and thousands of these, and a lot of them are of undetermined sovereignty, and both the Turks and Greeks want to claim their rule over them. A specific example are the 2 islands of Emia and Kardak, which originated the crisis of 1996.
Hold on, let me go back.
Emia and
oh, they're right there. Those, I was looking down here trying to read that.
And Kardak, which originated the crisis of 1996. Another big one, which also includes a lot of specific disputes, is Russia and Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine have at least 3 big territorial disputes, if not more. The first and biggest one is Crimea. In 2014, Russian forces occupied and annexed the Crimean Peninsula. They held a referendum in which the results led to Russian annexation, but the international community and Ukraine do not recognize the validity of it and have declared it illegal. Another issue is the Sea of Azov, this tiny extra part of the Black Sea. Apparently it's supposed to have mutual jurisdiction shared between the two countries, but in 2014 as well, Russian ships stopped the Ukrainian Navy from entering it. There's also a few tiny islands on this sea which both countries claim and do not agree upon. Plus the generalized issue with the entire border. Apparently since 2001, Russia has delayed establishing an official fixed border with Ukraine, and since 2014, the possibility of that happening seems even smaller. If we want to
Crazy that he made this 5 years ago.
talk about a large number of territorial disputes, well, look no further, because it's Europe's favorite conflict area, the Balkans. Slovenia and Croatia have some issues. Croatia and Serbia dispute not only their entire border, but also the islands of Caringrad and Vukovar. Croatia and Montenegro dispute the small peninsula of Preklava because of it being a strategic location in the Adriatic Sea. Croatia and Bosnia fight over the Klek Peninsula and the two inhabited islands of Velikskol and Malikskol. Serbia and Bosnia, probably
there's a lot over
amongst
here.
other
Balkans
things, dispute the village of Sastavci, which is located in a Serbian municipality but lies immediately east of the village of Medurekije, which is an ex-slave of Bosnia. And we're not even getting into the whole Kosovo thing again, so this is an area with a lot of territorial disputes. France and Italy also have a dispute over the region of Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc means White Mountains, and it's the second highest mountain in Europe, located in the Alps. And there's a few issues over who owns the summit. The border goes along the scale of the mountain between Italy and France, but at the very top they dispute it. Italian officials claim the border follows the watershed, splitting the summit between Italy and France, while French officials claim the border avoids the summit, making it French territory only. From 1416 onwards, the entire mountain was within the Duchy of Savoy. In 1723, the duchy acquired the Kingdom of Sardinia, with this kingdom then taking part in Italian unification. But in 1792, a French revolutionary army of the Alps seized Savoy and created a department of Mont Blanc. 4 years later, Savoy was formally ceded to France, and in this treaty it is established that the border should be along the peaks of the mountains. The issue is, should the peak be interpreted as being French or as part of both countries? There's
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it should be along the peaks in the mountains if that's where the line is, but they're trying to like, well, who actually takes the peak though? That's so wild.
also a small dispute between Germany and the Netherlands, but it has kind of been resolved. It's over the boundary of the Dollart Bay.
Okay.
Essentially, they argue over where exactly the border should be along the water. But in 1960, they signed a treaty, essentially agreeing to disagree, accepting each of them has a different view on the subject, but that the disagreement isn't really important and should therefore not present an excuse for conflict. A pretty healthy and positive way of handling a disagreement. I also included the Caucasus region in this video because from my point of view, it's still kind of Europe, or at least it makes more sense for me to include them here rather than with Asia. Armenia and Azerbaijan have some disputes over the Nagorno-Karabakh region and the areas around it. Apparently, this region is internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan, but controlled by the Nagorno-Karabakh, supported by Armenia, and it's therefore also known as the Republic of Artsakh. This happens because the region is predominantly Armenian populated, and when the two countries first became independent in 1918, both of them claimed it. Still in the Caucasus, there's the issue of Georgia's territorial disputes with Russia, with the specific problems of
Georgia has issues with Russia as well. I mean, I can only imagine. If you're on the border of Russia, you probably have territorial issues just because it's Russia.
South Ossetia. Internationally, most countries recognize Abkhazia as a region of Georgia, but Georgia itself apparently views it as an autonomous republic. Essentially, Russians support local independence against Georgia. South Ossetia is the same thing, officially a part of Georgia, but the separatists are recognized and supported by Russia. There's also a few historical disputes which have been settled, such as the Åland Islands between Finland and Sweden, Poland and Denmark over parts of the Baltic Sea. This one was only resolved in 2018. Northern Ireland between the UK and Ireland, a few cases in the Baltics between those three and Russia, even one between Italy and the Vatican over the Passetto di Borgo, an elevated passage that links Vatican City with the castle in Rome, and many, many more. But thankfully, most of these were resolved, and plus, most of the ones we saw are disputes that exist peacefully, but hopefully will even be fully resolved and agreed upon as well. So
pretty wild looking at the Georgia one now. This makes me nervous about Russia, especially with what they've done with Ukraine, and they also kind of think that they own this territory here. Anything going on there? Someone let me know in the comments below. I know somebody that watches me lives in this area.
So those are a few of the biggest territorial disputes in Europe. Europe has thankfully been at peace for decades now, with a few unfortunate exceptions. We should remember that while we all learn tragic lessons from the First and Second World Wars, we're not yet risk-free, and we should take these small territorial disputes precisely as that. Small, and in most cases, irrelevant, or at least definitely not worth any type of conflict. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you want,
dude, that video was awesome. I feel like I learned so much. I say this every time. If you watch me do a reaction where I'm not talking as much as I normally do, it's because I'm like really into it. He did a fantastic job of actually pronouncing all the areas. I was like, I commend him. I would not even try and do that. W video though, general knowledge, they always do an amazing job. I'll give them a like real quick. If you guys enjoyed that, or if you have any other recommendations on like territorial stuff, I'm really interested, so send it my way. There's a link in the description below. You just click on it. You can grab the YouTube link, drop it in there. You can write something if you want. You don't have to. Send it my way, and hopefully it makes it to my desk. Appreciate y'all watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.